It's a beautiful night for baseball. And live from Coors Field in Denver, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Colorado Rockies in Game 3 of this 4-game series and Game 2 of this day-night doubleheader. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Oral Hershiser. Nomar will be on the next road trip with us. Dodgers lost the first game today, 6-3, and between Game 1 and Game 2, they made a couple of roster moves. Austin Barnes sent back to AAA Oklahoma City. David Huff designated for assignment. A couple of members of the bullpen have been added. Left-hander Daniel Colomb and right-hander Josh Raven. In Game 2 tonight, Zach Greinke gets the start against David Hale.
Yeah, and this is a big start for Zach. He's really been a stopper for, and losing Game 1, to have him on the mound is very comforting. I like having one of your aces be the second game, and you see Zach 5-1. He has yet to have a non-quality start. 10 starts, everything has been at least 6 innings, and every time has been 3 runs or less. And really, he's only given up 3 runs twice, so he has been outstanding.
And since coming to the Dodgers in 34 starts following a loss, Greinke is 21-6. Story of the first game, the story of the past few days, in fact, Jock Peterson, 3 home runs in his last 3 games.
Yeah, Jock Peterson started in St. Louis, has continued here in Colorado. 2 of the times that he's hit these home runs have been in losing causes, but he really has opened a lot of people's eyes. Now with 15 home runs, 29 RBIs, the young fellow started in St. Louis. That was a blast there, but that does not compare to what's happened here the last couple days and nights. Jock is hitting the ball over 400 feet. His average distance now 422 or greater. And what he is doing with the 15 home runs, the average is up over 250 now. The RBIs are coming, playing a great center field. Probably one of the most exciting components of this Dodger roster right now.
So the Dodgers with Jock Peterson hitting a 477-foot home run in Game 1 sends Zach Greinke out for Game 2. Dodgers and Rockies lineups in first pitch coming up next. opener. And our closed captioning for the second game brought to you by Chumash Casino Resort, where we are all about you. So the Dodgers looking to get off the mat. And here is the lineup that Don Mattingly has put together for Game 2 tonight. Well, Jock Peterson, another mammoth home run, 477 feet. Now third in the league with 15 home runs. Kike Hernandez started the first game at shortstop, moves to second base to give Kendrick this evening off. Gonzalez at first and Grandal behind the plate. Andre Ethier, a pinch hitter in the first game, back in right. Callaspo starts at third. And so Justin Turner with the evening off. Rollins at short. Chris Heisey, who played in right field in the first game, in left in the second game. Greinke pitching and batting ninth against 27-year-old right-hander David Hale.
David Hale's going to come at you with a fastball around 90-91, a changeup all the way down to 80. So you only have about 11-mile-an-hour differential, but he knows how to use it in his 9 big league starts up here. 4-1 with a 2.13. Hurt at the beginning of the year with an oblique. And he's no dummy, Charlie. He went to Princeton and was majoring in operations research and financial engineering.
So this Ivy Leaguer traded from Atlanta to the Rockies in the offseason. Last year in Atlanta, made 45 appearances. 6 of them were for starts, a record of 4-5 and a 3.30 ERA. Well, here is Jock Peterson. Well, the first game, his line is pretty indicative of what he has done this year. A long-distance home run. He walked and struck out twice. And so Peterson steps into the batter's box, and away we go. Jock at 256. First pitch is under the knees. 1 ball and no strikes. So for the next half hour, 45 minutes, the sun and the shadows will be very much a story. And in just a moment, we'll be talking with Alana about that. Kike Hernandez on deck, and then Gonzalez. And it's outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
Jock's average is 256, but he's still 5th on the team in on-base percentage at 383. Ethier and Adrian Gonzalez, Yasmani Grandal, and Enrique Hernandez is a little bit above him, but no, Alex Guerrero was the last one before him.
Well, Peterson, among the league leaders in strikeouts and walks and home runs. On 2-1, a chopper to second base. That's LeMahieu from the outfield grass as the Rockies put on the shift, and we're underway in Game 2. Defensively for the Rockies, Arenado's as good as it gets at third base. Tulowitzki at short. LeMahieu, a Gold Glove winner, and Ben Paulson at first base. Brandon Barnes in left. Charlie Blackwood covers a lot of ground in center field. Carlos Gonzalez, outstanding right fielder. Nick Hundley had the matinee off. So now here's Kike Hernandez at second base. And batting second. And he flies to right, and he flies it right out of here. A home run. Kike Hernandez, his second home run with the Dodgers. And just like that, they take a 1-0 lead. I'm not sure that Carlos Gonzalez ever saw it.
At first, I thought he was deking Kike Hernandez. Then I'm thinking, oh, is he fighting the sun to just try and see it? But you see the swing right here. This is Oppo power, and the ball's been carrying out to right here. In the first game it was, and in this game it is. But Kike still got the best part of the bat on that one.
And the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead. Just saying that the sun is going to be miserable on the right side of the field for the next half hour, 40 minutes. Now Adrian Gonzalez takes outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. Gonzalez 0 for 3 in the first game. Adrian is third in the league in batting average and takes a strike. Gonzalez in the first game bounced out, struck out, walked and flied to left. So Kike Hernandez with the home run here in the first. That's well hit, but foul.
What an advantage for the hitters to know if I just square it up, I don't have to supply the power. The air here, the wind will get it out. Just square it up and get it on the right trajectory, and you got a good chance to hit the big fly.
Gonzalez takes inside. And it's 2-2. Two home runs in the first game by the Rockies. McHenry and Paulson, and of course the big home run by Paulson. Now the 2-2. Gonzalez with a fly ball to left field. And drifting on back is Brandon Barnes. 2 out. So David Hale roughed up early as Yasmani Grandal steps in. Grandal has hit well on the road. He's basically left-handed, right-handed. His numbers are basically the same. The only difference is more power from the left side. As a right-handed hitter, 286. Left-handed hitter, 284. Here's Kike Hernandez, El Presidente of the Banana Republic.
The Rally Banana Man.
2 balls and no strikes. Andre Ethier is on deck. So Hernandez, who started at shortstop in game 1, second base in game 2, has given the Dodgers the early lead as Grandal fouls it back.
Yasmani's had a couple games off. Yesterday, A.J. Ellis ushered Clayton Kershaw around in that game, and then game 1, Austin Barnes caught. So he's gotten to watch 18 innings of baseball before he gets back in there. That's a lot for a starting catcher to miss out on. But they're easing him back in to the role after the concussion he sat out from.
Austin Barnes, after the start today, sent back to Oklahoma City. On 2-1, Grandal foul tips it. And it's 2-2.
Was that a shot of Clayton Kershaw holding a bat? Guy gets 3 hits and career high for a game, and all of a sudden now he's holding a bat. Get the baseball. Taking it home, put it in the trophy case.
2 singles and a double for Kershaw last night. Grandal is done. So are the Dodgers. Kike Hernandez with a home run, his second of the year, has given Zach Greinke a little room to work with as we go to the bottom half of the first. Visits to Philadelphia and Cincinnati, splitting the first 2 games of this series with the Dodgers. And here's the lineup he has put together, beginning with Charlie Blackmon and then DJ LeMahieu. Tulowitzki didn't play in the first game. Carlos Gonzalez in right. Arenado 2 for 4 in game 1. Then Paulson at first base 2 for 4. Hundley had the afternoon off. Brandon Barnes in left. And David Hale pitching and batting ninth against Zach Greinke.
Zach of late upping the usage of his curveball. I'm not sure he'll do that here in Mile High. I would think he'd be a little bit more fastball, changeup, cutter, slider. He is really had a great year.
His 11th start. And there's Kike Hernandez. And there's quickly one out.
Every one of Zach's starts has been a quality start. Had a no decision against Atlanta.
So Callaspo's at third base tonight for game 2. Rollins at short. Hernandez giving Howie Kendrick the second game off. Adrian Gonzalez plays just about all the time. Heisey in left, Peterson in center, Ethier in right, and Grandal behind the plate. As DJ LeMahieu steps into the batter's box. DJ at .337. Fouls it off to the right, and it's 0-1. A few years ago, the Cubs really got frustrated with LeMahieu, and the Rockies got frustrated with Ian Stewart. And so basically, the Rockies and Cubs said, you take our headache, we'll take yours. Well, it paid off handsomely for the Rockies. And there's Hernandez. Story of the first inning and a half, isn't it?
A couple of defensive plays and the home run, and he leads 1-0.
So Zach Greinke, his 11th start. In 67 innings, he's walked only 14 batters. And opposing hitters are hitting a meager 184 against him. Now here's Tulowitzki. And the Rockies are waiting for him to break out in a big way. Strike, 0-1. 50 games into the season, Tulowitzki has but 4 home runs. Just had a couple of them over the weekend. One ball, one strike to Tulowitzki with Gonzalez on deck.
He hit Zach Greinke pretty well at a .303 clip, but over that time, 33 at bats, Zach's done a great job keeping him in the ballpark. 0 in that category.
30-year-old Troy Tulowitzki takes outside, and it's 2-1.
Dodgers looking to split this doubleheader, and that'll guarantee him a split in the series, and they can play tomorrow to win the series.
At the moment, a game in front of the Giants, who host the Pirates later on, and A.J. Burnett having just a tremendous season for the Bucks. Now the 2-1. Fair ball. Callaspo throws across the diamond. Tulowitzki's retired. An easy inning for Zach Greinke. Second inning with Ethier, Callaspo, and Rollins coming up. Ethier, Callaspo, and Rollins will bat. against 27-year-old right-hander David Hale. This is his 10th big league start. Overall 4-1 at 2.13 ERA, and as we mentioned, he came over from Atlanta during the offseason. Made his big league debut in 2013, and here is Andre Ethier. Ethier with a long-distance home run. Last night. This is the third game in 24 hours for these two clubs. There's a strike, 0-1. Andre hit 4 home runs all of last year. What a season he's turned in so far. Are we at the point now where we don't have to talk about the start, but now the season that these fellas are having?
Past the quarter pole. We haven't gotten to the third pole yet, have we?
Getting close. This is the 52nd game.
Yep.
Lined into center field. Charlie Blackmon is there.
We're close enough to say they're having a good first half.
That's right. Now Callaspo coming up. A pinch hitter in the first game.
Well, it's not exactly murderer's row here at the bottom of the Dodger lineup, but these guys might surprise some people.
Callaspo in his days has enjoyed playing at Coors Field and takes a strike. It's 0-1. Rollins on deck. The Kike Hernandez home run in the first is the difference in the game to this point. Royals, Angels, Braves, Dodgers, Alberto Callaspo, and there's Kike Hernandez who hit the home run. Callaspo takes outside and low.
I don't think that's a hairstyle. I think that's a shower between games and then throwing your hat on.
Along with Vidal Sassoon, the ground ball slowly hit to second base. Callaspo thrown out by LeMahieu. Two out, nobody on, and Rollins coming up. Rollins pinch hit in the first game. Jimmy's bat beginning to awaken over the last 3 weeks or so. Jimmy with a home run to right last night. His 6th of the year. And a ground ball up the middle into center field. The Rockies put the shift on, and Jimmy said, yeah, okay. And went right back where nobody was.
It just stayed inside the ball and drove it back up the middle to the shortstop side of second base. And you see where Troy Tulowitzki is. He's on the second base side of second base, and Tulo can't reach that one. Even if he got to it with a backhand going that direction, I don't think he's going to get him.
So Rollins is aboard, second hit of the game for the Dodgers, and Chris Heisey 1 for 4 in his appearance this afternoon. When he started in right, he's playing in left in the second game. Takes a strike, 0-1. Heisey's been going back and forth between the Dodgers and Oklahoma City. Big league level, hitting 154. Into short right. LeMahieu has a better angle on it than Gonzalez with the sun out there. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left. Greinke will face Cargo, Arenado, and Ben Paulson in the bottom of the second. The story, and Alana is here to tell us about it.
Well, a 6:40 first pitch here local time is problematic for a couple of reasons. The shadows in the infield and the sun effect, particularly at first base. I talked to Davey Lopes yesterday about the 6:40 start time, and he said that he saw Willeen Rosario, the Rockies first baseman, and Nolan Arenado, their third baseman, giving each other signs about where exactly to position the ball on the throw to first base. As the sun glare went away, he was able to say you can throw it higher now. I talked to Justin Turner as well, who was at third in yesterday's game at 6:40, and he said that he and Adrian Gonzalez were also talking about it between innings, guys.
First pitch of the second, Gonzalez bangs a single into left field. Yesterday, Nolan Arenado talking to Willeen Rosario. We'll keep it low, we'll keep it low. And there was a moment last night also. Barnes had issues in the outfield as well. There was a moment when Arenado threw the ball back to Kendrick, and Kendrick, the pitcher, didn't see it.
Just ducked.
So for the next little while, it'll be an issue.
Arenado looked like a quarterback calling an audible right there with telling his receivers which routes to run.
Well, here's Arenado 2 for 4 in the first ball game. Rolls it foul off his foot, and it's 0-1. Arenado at 293. 4 out of 8 in the series. This afternoon, single, a double, an RBI, and a couple of runs scored. Ben Paulson is on deck, and Paulson has had a good series so far. One and one to Arenado. Certainly having an all-star caliber first half. For the Dodgers, this is game 6 of 34 in 34 days. 1-2.
Zach Greinke really trying to avoid the middle of the plate here. He's been trying to stretch the strike zone. Sometimes the Rocky hitters have been chasing, other times they've been taking it for a ball.
Just a dozen pitches into Greinke's journey tonight.
Looks like Adrian Gonzalez had no trouble with that toss from Zach over there. That was eye high. He was able to catch it. Probably a little worse when it's coming from around second base.
Gonzalez was wearing shades in the first game. One ball and 2 strikes to Nolan Arenado. Dodgers and Rockies will wrap it up tomorrow. Mike Bolsinger and Chad Bettis. Right after the game, the Dodgers fly home. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 4 with the Cardinals. On 1 and 2. Inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Worked him away a couple pitches and then came inside with that fastball. That's the ball that jammed Troy Tulowitzki and broke his bat. Ended the first inning. Zach had a very easy first inning.
Needed 8 pitches in the first. Post play at first base.
2-2 count. It'll be an action count. For a pitcher, you're really concentrating on throwing a strike because you don't want to get to 3 and 2, because then a lot of times they're going to start the runner and you lose your double play on the same ground ball that if you got that ground ball with a 2-2 count.
Gonzalez Cargo has 1 stolen base this year, being held on by Adrian Gonzalez. Fouled off to the right and out of play.
A lot of times a 2-2 count, like Zach just did right there, you attack with your fastball because you want contact. And you want to get the ball put in play so you don't get to that 3-2 count. You save your swing and miss pitch for the 3-2 count so that if they do start the runner, you got a chance for the strike them out, throw them out.
2 balls, 2 strikes. That works the count full. So is Walt Weiss inclined to send the runner here?
I think the way Arenado's been swinging the bat for power and for contact in this series right now, I think he'd have a lot of confidence in starting the runner.
Cargo leads from first. Greinke keenly aware of that possibility. Grandal has thrown out 6 of 23. Dodgers with a 1-0 lead on the Kike Hernandez home run. The runner goes a foul back and out of play. So Cargo returns to first. This will be the 9th pitch of this at-bat.
Well, you know the runner's going now as a pitcher, and for Zach right now, you might see him throw slider, look for the swing and miss.
Gonzalez in 2010 stole 26 bases. There he goes. The pitch is up the middle. Oh, look at Kike Hernandez. Right place, right time, double play.
Well, forget everything I said when I said the 2-2 ground ball will get you the double play, and the 3-2 when they start the runner, the same ground ball doesn't get you the double play. Well, it's better to throw that one in the 3-2 count because your second baseman's breaking for the bag, and he gets that ball up the middle. Here's the Carl's cam on that replay. Deflects off the mound. Kike's agile enough to get some ups and then takes his time. Good baseball clock right there. After he knows how hard that ball was hit, he just gets out of the way and just eases it over to Adrian.
2 out and nobody on. Everything's coming up roses for Kike Hernandez in the first couple innings tonight. Hit a home run. He's got 3 assists and a putout. Now here's Ben Paulson. Hit a home run, 2 out of 4 in the first game. Paulson had a good weekend on the road. So did the Rockies, for that matter, winning 5 of 6 in Philadelphia and Cincinnati. Fouls it off to the left and out of play. Paulson made his big league debut last year, made 31 appearances. And Greinke is even 2-2.
That last pitch is really the equalizer for Zach Greinke. It's been an out pitch, that changeup, but when you're in a 2-1 count, hitter-friendly count, you get backed into fastballs, and you can throw the. Zach can throw about 3 or 4 pitches in that count, but that changeup has been outstanding.
Time called. Paulson steps out. With Justin Morneau on the concussion disabled list, first base for the time being belongs to Ben Paulson. Call strike 3, and that's that. First strikeout for Greinke. No runs, a hit, and nobody left. Greinke will lead off in the 3rd inning. Greinke and the Dodgers have a 1-0 lead. is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. So Greinke will lead off for the Dodgers as we go to the third, and then Jock Peterson and Kike Hernandez. Well, Greinke has brought his A game through the first 2 innings, 24 pitches, 16 for strikes, base hit, a strikeout, and 3 infield outs.
Just so much fun to watch him pitch, but it's also a lot of fun to watch him hit. What a great athlete.
Hale starts him off with a breaking ball.
Zach looked out at him like, that's an awful lot of respect. First time you've ever seen me up here and you throw me a first pitch breaking ball. It's what happens when you've been a silver slugger.
No balls and 2 strikes. Think about Greinke. Since coming to the Dodgers in 2013, he has made 34 starts following a loss, including tonight, and he is 21-6. So between Kershaw and Greinke, it's really hard for a team to go into a prolonged slump.
Tailspins are short. Clayton is now above 500, 4-3, and a couple more starts like the last one. The slow start will be long forgotten.
He had the slow start last year.
I still think he's got a shot to make the All-Star team. He's now 4-3. The ERA is near the mid-3s. He could definitely get it into the high 2s or even to the middle 2s by All-Star. He could reel off another 4 or 5 wins in a row. A string of All-Star games might not get stopped. This guy at the plate, though, I think is going to be there. He leads the major leagues in ERA, WHIP, batting average against, quality starts. Just not in wins, but every one of his starts has been a quality, so that's at least 6 innings, and only twice has he given up 3 earned runs.
Into center field, here's Charlie Blackmon. First out of the third. And here is Jock Peterson, who has homered in each of his last 3 games. Bounced to second in his first at-bat, as was the case in the first inning. Walt Weiss is employing the shift on the right side of the infield, and yet the outfield is essentially straight away. Charlie Blackmon maybe a step or 2 toward left. That one is well hit to center field. That one's got a chance. It's got more than a chance. It's gone. Another home run for Jock Peterson. 4 home runs in 4 games. They just keep going further and further. 2-0 LA. Oh, is he on a roll?
He hits them often. He's starting to hit them so far. He's starting to look like Robert Redford swinging Wonder Boy. I'm surprised the lights didn't explode.
Oh, man. Have a look and listen.
They're not reacting to the home run. They're reacting to how far it went. I mean, that's up 5, 10, 15, 20 rows to straightaway center. Ball lands.
In the first game, his home run traveled 477 feet. Can't wait for Galileo to figure out how far this one went.
A new debate.
Oh. So the Dodgers 2-0 on solo home runs, and Kike Hernandez is 2 for 2. He homered in his first at-bat and singles to left in his second.
Wow. Zach, who's pitching in the game, is drinking water and smiling about it.
Well, there's somebody who can relate to long-distance home runs, and that's who Jock Peterson is talking to. There's John Valentin. Scott Van Slyke on the disabled list now with a bad back. Peterson now with 16 home runs. And here's Adrian Gonzalez. Inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. So Peterson, 15 home runs, 28 runs batted in. One keeps going further than the next.
Well, Jacques right here, take a look at the side swing. You know what? That was a lot. He tips his cap, but that's a lot calmer and balanced swing than he's been taking. That's starting to show some progress.
Gonzalez flied to left in his first at bat.
They're working really hard with Jacques to get him to stay through the ball instead of coming around the ball, to really hit the ball more up the middle like that ball was hit.
Now Gonzalez, 2-1.
And it's a matter of taking the top hand and the hands straight to the ball instead of towards the ball and then around the ball. And what it does, it keeps the bat in the hitting area longer, and so you have a longer time to make contact and a longer time to make good contact instead of having a smaller place to hit it hard.
Runner goes, Gonzalez grounds it foul.
So they're hoping that he doesn't lose any of his power, which he won't, but he gains a lot more contact, so the strikeouts will get cut down, and if they cut the strikeouts down and he keeps barreling up like that, the home runs will actually go up.
Last night, Peterson hit a home run in roughly the same area, and that one was measured at 450 feet. This one appears to have been deeper. How much deeper, we'll find out soon enough.
They're getting their slide rules out.
Two and two to Adrian Gonzalez. Did he go around? No, this is third base umpire John Tumpane.
Take a look for yourself right here. Nomar says no swing, but he's at home.
And doesn't get a vote.
He always says no swing, Charlie.
On 3-2, let's see. There goes Hernandez, and there's a fly ball to right center field. That one is way back. That one's got a chance, and that one's gone into the Dodger bullpen. A 2-run home run for Adrian Gonzalez, and the Dodgers take a 4-0 lead. For Gonzalez, his 11th home run of the year. RBIs 36 and 37.
Well, that one was the same angle and placement of Jacques Peterson's in game 1, but wasn't quite as far. So Adrian might take a little ribbing from the youngster. 3-2. Adrian's seen an awful lot of pitches, got it timed up.
Gonzalez last night was 4 for 4 and a couple of walks.
Take a look at pitch tracks, tell us where the location was. It's center cut pretty much, slightly on the outer half.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
It really wasn't a complete open swing because of the 3-2 count, but he got enough of it.
Randall bounces to first. Nicely played by Paulson. Hale covering. That's a second out. So the Dodgers now lead the major leagues with 72 home runs.
And they score the largest amount of runs, percentage of runs on home runs.
Almost half.
Yep. 47.6% going into the game prior to game 1. They haven't stopped there.
So the Dodgers and Greinke with a 4-run lead. Galileo reporting for duty. Jock Peterson's home run traveled 472 feet. Adrian Gonzalez, a mere bag of shells, 424 feet. Ethier grounds to first. That ends the inning. So in game one, Jock Peterson hit a 477-foot home run. And here in the third, he travels 472 feet. Peterson with a shot. And then Adrian Gonzalez with a shot. And the Dodgers lead by 4. Surge for the Dodgers tonight with a home run in the first inning. Then Peterson. And then Gonzalez. The Dodgers on the year have now scored 230 runs. 113 of them have come by way of the home run. And on the first pitch of the third inning, Nick Hundley singles to left past Jimmy Rollins. Come on out to Dodger Stadium on Father's Day, Sunday, June 21st, when the Dodgers face off against the Giants. First 40,000 fans in attendance receive a Father's Day barbecue set presented by Farmer John. Bring your gloves and join in a post-game catch on the field. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Now Brandon Barnes stepping in from Anaheim, and he takes a ball outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. Barnes 1 for 3 in the first game. 113 of 230 runs by way of the home run. Two balls and no strikes to Barnes with David Hale on deck. And Greinke, who's given up 2 hits, has 4 runs to play with. But Barnes bangs a single into left, and the Rockies are in business here in the bottom of the third.
The only thing alarming for me on the amount of home runs that are being hit, or really the percentage of runs we're scoring via home runs, might be the reason that we're struggling against some of the better clubs and the better pitchers, because those are the people that don't give those up. So you're eliminating a lot of those runs. Not to say that those pitchers wouldn't give up singles and doubles and maybe a few triples, but they don't give up quite as many of the big flies.
Well, Jock Peterson, perfect example as to why the Dodgers would not trade any of their big 3 young studs, as Hale squares to bunt, takes outside. Corey Seager started the year at Double-A. Got a scouting report. They asked the skipper down there, well, What about Corey? And the response was he needs a new challenge. So they sent him to AAA. Seager went 6 for 6 with 6 runs scored the other night. 2 balls and no strikes to Hale. Urias is out of action, having had some eye surgery.
Well, good for him to get the eye surgery, get things taken care of the way he wants to, and it also will keep his innings down this year and keep him within the realm of where they want him.
Hale squares, pitches a strike, throw to second base, not in time. 2-1.
That is an option all the time, that if the batter bunts through the ball, the base runner has a tendency to be leaning towards the next base, and the shortstop's supposed to sneak in behind, and Yasmani Grandal executed it perfectly. They just didn't catch him hanging out there.
2-1 with Blackman on deck. Hundley at second, Barnes at first. There's a strike. 2-2.
Zach right there on that last pitch. He threw changeup on purpose to a guy who was bunting so that he could get a good jump off the mound. Instead of throwing a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, he threw the ball 81 so that the ball would get there to home plate slower and he would be on top of the bunt quicker. That's at the level that he's thinking.
Callaspo inside the cutout at third. Gonzalez racing in from first. Hale bounces to Gonzalez. He'll throw to first base. Hernandez covering. So the sacrifice works out. Hundley goes to third. Barnes goes to second. Sacrifice scored 3-4. And Charlie Blackman is coming up. Blackman 0 for 5 in the first game, bounced to second in the first inning of this, the second game. Blackman 1 for 4 last night. So Blackman's bat has slowed up. He's hitting .246. LeMahieu on deck. Infield back. Greinke deals. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Well hit to center. Peterson's got a long way to go. A long way to go, and he tracks it down. Terrific catch. Tagging and scoring is Hundley. Barnes tags and goes to third. Jock Peterson with 549 feet worth of home runs just tracks down a long distance fly off the bat of Blackman. The Rockies are on the board. It's 4-1.
The guys with Jock's power don't usually play center field, but if they do, they are really good. You think of Willie Mays and Duke Snyder and guys that played out there, Mickey Mantle. Jock's starting to show those kind of tools. Thunder in his bat and lightning in his legs.
Now LeMahieu. So the lead is 4-1. LeMahieu 2 for 5 in the first game. Bounced to second in his first at bat and bangs a single into center field to knock in Barnes and give the Rockies their second run to the third. It is 4-2 Dodgers.
Well, the bottom of the order set the table, and the top of the order is driving them in. Charlie Blackman with the blast as a sac fly, and now here DJ LeMahieu staying on that fastball away and hitting it where it was pitched. Zach had a shot at it, but that's awfully tough on a line drive that quick when you're only 60 feet 6 inches away.
LeMahieu, a .486 hitter with runners in scoring position. 2 runs are in for the Rocks. And Tulowitzki takes outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Tulowitzki bounced to third in his first at bat. But now Greinke has to regain his sea legs here in the bottom of the third. Tulowitzki, with but 4 home runs this year, did not play in the first game. Greinke has given up 5 home runs on the year. Two balls, no strikes. That one is well hit. But it's Heisey there to make the catch, and that will end the inning. But the Rockies come up with 2 runs, 3 hits, and leave 1 as we go to the 4th. Greinke has a 4-2 lead. Great play in center field. Rick Honeycutt. Dodgers with a 4-2 lead. 2 runs and 3 base hits for the Rockies in the third. We begin the 4th. Alberto Callaspo starting at third base in the second game of this doubleheader with Jimmy Rollins and Chris Heisey. Callaspo bounced to second in his first at-bat. Switch hitter batting from the left side. As we discovered in the first game, the ball is really traveling here today.
I think it was traveling a little better in the day game, but it's still, the air is thin still tonight. Might dampen a little bit when the sun goes down.
Aspa went around, according to third base umpire John Tompay. So Jock Peterson, all in all, not a bad day. 2 home runs that traveled a combined 549 feet. Wait a minute.
Oh,
wait a minute. 949 feet. Almost 1,000 feet of home run. Callaspo slaps one into left field, and it is a foul ball.
just missed by about 6 inches having a double. And that's Callaspo's game right there, just being able to slap and run, try and keep the ball out of the air. But if he's going to hit it in the air, using the left field line is a good place from this left side.
Leading off the fourth, Callaspo, 2-2. He's hitting .206 with the Braves. Now the 2-2 on the way. Back through the middle into center field for a base hit. Alberto Callaspo, a leadoff single here in the fourth.
That's a good piece of hitting for his skills. That's what he needs to do, is find some holes, keep the ball on the ground, use your legs. Won't be hitting 200 very long if he does that.
Jimmy Rollins coming up. Rollins singled to center in his first at-bat. Dodgers a 4-2 lead. Rollins swings and foul tips it.
Tommy Lasorda used to have a deal with Steve Sachs that every time Sachs hit the ball in the air, it cost him $5. Every time he hit it on the ground, Tommy would give him $1. I don't know who made the money. Sachs had a real good career.
He surely did. 0-1 to Rollins. 0-2.
Saxey used to drive Rick Monday crazy. Rick, the veteran that broke us all in, and Rick would try and explain something that Saxey did on the bases was the wrong decision as far as going to third or going to second, get thrown out. Saxey would turn to him sitting on the Dodger bench and ask him, "Do you think the San Diego Chicken's going to be there when we get down there?" Rick would just shake his head. I'm trying to teach this guy how to win a pennant.
1-2. Callaspo leads from first.
Saxey used to also ask Tommy Lasorda for the sports page when he was reading the Wall Street Journal.
Rollins down on strikes as Hale pulls the string, and that's the second strikeout for David Hale.
You'd think that the most surprising thing about that story is Saxey asking for the sports page. For me, it was Tommy reading the Wall Street Journal.
That's a double punch line.
Skip, I know you're watching. And I know Joe, your wife, is watching. So I hope you guys are laughing right now.
Heisey popped to second in his first at-bat. 1 for 4 in the first game. Fouls it back to the screen.
I don't think I'm mistaken, but I'm seeing more and more of Justin Turner in Chris Heisey's swing. The upper body, the way he's wiggling the bat and the barrel's starting to point towards the pitcher. The leg kick, I don't remember Chris hitting in this style in spring training. A little more upright. Watch the leg kick come up just like Justin. Just not as high as Justin.
Heisey down on strikes. That's the third strikeout for Hale. And it brings up Zach Greinke.
Take a look. You can be the umpire at home, and Pitch Track says ball's inside.
So with 2 out, Greinke flied to center in his first at-bat. 3 for 21, which translates to that 143 average. Strike on the inside corner. Greinke whistles one foul up the third baseline. And it's 0-2. It is tough over there at first base with that sun beating down. And Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, having trouble seeing almost anything over there. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Zach Greinke. With home run Peterson on deck.
You mean Robert Redford?
He's becoming must-see TV, isn't he? But we'll have to wait a half inning. Greinke down on strikes. Hale strikes out the side. No runs and a hit. Carlos Gonzalez, Nolan Arenado, and Ben Paulson to bat for the Rockies in the bottom of the fourth. Hale in comparison to Andrew Friedman and Farhan Zaidi in the Dodger front office. 7 moves were made, including Van Slyke to the disabled list with a bad back. Heisey recalled from AAA. Ian Thomas pitched in the first game. Colomb and Raven have been called up for this game. David Huff, after the first game, designated for assignment, and Austin Barnes was sent back to AAA. And how was your day at the office? And juggling all those balls is Don Mattingly. And his club's got a 4-2 lead.
Scratched his head on cue.
Cargo beginning the bottom of the fourth takes high and away, 1 ball and no strikes.
Scott Akasaki, our traveling secretary, is making his money too this year. All the travel arrangements for these moves. Maybe they'll give me a better room getting a shot out to Scott.
Two balls and no strikes to Gonzalez. Arenado on deck. Now 2-1. Gonzalez singled to left in his first at bat, was 0 for 3 in the first game. He also walked. Dodgers 4 runs and 6 hits. Home runs for Hernandez, Jock Peterson, and Adrian Gonzalez. Carlos Gonzalez now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cargo at 220. Seven roster moves in one day. Slapped foul past Stu Cole, the third base coach.
You know, Charlie, a lot of snapshots are taken over the course of a career, and I played 17 years in the big leagues, but the lighting right now on the field are some of the best ones I've ever gotten that are kind of saved at the house, with that filtered light coming across the mound where Zach Greinke is pitching through. There's just so many of them that it's a rarity when you get great lighting and you go, wow, that just reminds me of how much fun it was to play in the big leagues.
On 3-2, drilled into right for a base hit. A leadoff single for Carlos Gonzalez.
One of the places that's really cool is at Wrigley because of that space between, and the light comes through, and it almost looks like a spotlight when you're pitching out there.
Well, you got the cozy confines of Wrigley Field and the wide open spaces of Coors Field.
Right now, Zach Greinke doesn't care how pretty it is right now. Pretty to him will be a double play.
He got one off Arenado's bat in the second inning. Arenado lines a single into left, and as was the case in the third inning, the first two hitters are aboard with singles.
Aspo makes quite an effort on this play. Outstretched arms, just not long enough.
So the Rockies are in business. Tying runs are aboard, nobody out. And Ben Paulson took a called third strike in his first at-bat. Paulson had 63 at-bats last year. And he's got 45 so far this year, and he takes outside and low, 1 ball, no strikes. But by the looks of it, he's a keeper.
I like the way he moves up there at the plate. Very calm temperament. Looks like he's got a plan. A nice looking swing.
Greinke misses low, 2-0.
Zach struck him out on the fastball away, a four-seamer looking that was set up by a changeup that was running away from Paulson. And they just went opposite on the sequencing right there. They went with the fastball away, which Zach missed, came back with the changeup.
First and second, nobody out.
That's the pitch he rang him up with, that four-seamer away. Just missed.
Now he's fallen behind, 3 balls and no strikes to Ben Paulson. And with Justin Morneau on the disabled list, they don't know when he's coming back. He has a concussion. Paulson's their first baseman, and he's done a terrific job to this point. 3-1. Nick Hundley on deck. Dodgers led 4-0 after 2.5, but the Rockies scored 2 in the bottom of the third and threatening for more here in the fourth. Now the bases are loaded and nobody out. First walk given up by Greinke. And just the 15th he's given up all year in 70 innings.
Zach giving the signal. The Yasmani Grandal. If it's back to me, I'm coming to you for the 1 to 2 to 3 double play down to Adrian.
Hundley has singled and scored a run tonight. To second base. Hernandez spins. Rollins to first. Not in time. In to score is Gonzalez. Arenado goes to third. Colorado pulls to within 1. Dodgers 4, Rockies 3.
Zach does a good job getting the ground ball. Just so happens it's so far, and they're pretty fast as far as getting it through. Jimmy gets his feet tied up a little bit around second base. Has to take an extra half a step. Nick Hundley got down the line pretty good. Beat it by about a half a step as they picked up their run.
And now the Dodger lead is but a run as Brandon Barnes, with runners at the corner, steps in. He swings and misses, 0-1. Barnes singled to left and scored a run in his first at-bat. Four runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers, 3 runs, 6 hits for the Rockies. Pitcher Hale is on deck. No balls and 2 strikes.
Go after the 8-hitter so you get David Hale out and you get the inning over. Instead of pitching around Barnes, then you got to get Hale and maybe Charlie Blackmon out. Look for the double play or strikeout right here.
Greinke has 1 strikeout on the night. Blocked nicely by Grandal.
Get down with the knees, put the glove between the wickets, angle the chest protector forward so the ball, when it hits you in the chest, lays right in front of you. Perfectly done.
Mattingly flashing signs to Grandal. In turn, flashing signs to Greinke. On 1 and 2. A much needed strikeout for Greinke, his second of the game. There's 2 out.
Don Mattingly wasn't calling the pitch. It ends up being a fastball up. He was controlling the running game with the 1st and 3rd situation for Yasmani. Yasmani and Zach on the same page for the high fastball. Get themselves the punch out.
Now 2 out, and David Hale, a sacrifice in his first plate appearance. Greinke protecting now a 4-3 lead. 2 on, 2 out. Easy chopper to Kike Hernandez, and that's going to do it. 2 runs, 2 hits, a walk, and a couple left. We'll go to the 5th. Greinke and the Dodgers, 4-3. His last at bat, a home run that traveled 472 feet.
The longer he keeps that front side in, the more accurate and powerful that bat's going to be with a longer sweet spot. The young man's sweet spot's getting bigger and bigger every day.
2 behind Nelson Cruz and Bryce Harper for the major league lead in home runs. A home run in each of the last 4 games. 472 feet in the 3rd inning, 477 feet in the 1st game, 450 feet on Monday night here, and on Sunday afternoon in St. Louis, he hit one to right. Home run Peterson. The shift is on. Tried to check his swing, but went around. No balls and a strike.
Those check swings can sometimes hurt, especially with his bat speed. Starts to launch that bat and then realizes where that pitch is. He wants to hold up, and he'd already committed too much.
One ball and 1 strike. Kike Hernandez on deck, and then Adrian Gonzalez. So the first 3 hitters for the Dodgers tonight have each hit home runs. And got under it. Didn't miss that one by much.
He hit that 335, and he completely missed it. This one, you're going to see tonight when he puts his head on the pillow. It was a hanging changeup. If it's a little lower, Hale is so glad to get this ball back.
You could see that exhale of relief. Kike Hernandez 2 for 2 and a home run tonight. Gonzalez on deck. One ball and one strike. Jock Peterson certainly locked in. 2-1 to Hernandez. 1 for 3 in the first game. Couple of home runs, 5 runs batted in. Started at short in game 1, starting at second base tonight. And last night he started in left field. The leader of the Banana Republic. And a fly ball to right field. Heading on back and right center, Charlie Blackmon takes Hernandez to the wall.
I've played in El Paso, I've played in Albuquerque, I've played in some really fun places to pitch, which I'm saying sarcastically. The ball is really jumping here today. I mean, they are barely touching it, and they're getting to the warning track.
Hernandez doesn't miss his second home run of the night by much. And Adrian Gonzalez, a 2-run shot in the third inning. He's also flied to left. So of the 233 runs the Dodgers have scored to this point in the season, 113 of them have come by way of home run. .5%. Now, coming into this season, if anybody would have told you that about this team, on 0-2, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Adrian Gonzalez.
I mean, earlier in the season, you went over the numbers just when we lost Hanley and Matt Kemp, and how there would be a power change. But now with Juan and Carl, and Yasiel pretty much gone with injury and trade, power should be down, but it is not.
Gonzalez is down on strikes, a 5th strikeout for Hale. We're 4.5 innings into the second game of this day-night doubleheader. Dodgers 4-3. Kids Cereal Bowl, presented by Sports Authority. First 15,000 ticketed kids 14 and under will get theirs when the Dodgers host the Cardinals at 5 o'clock. It's a Sunday night game. Go to Dodgers.com/promotions. So here's Zach Greinke, who has given up 3 runs and 6 base hits. He's given up as many as 3 runs only twice so far this year coming into the game. And he delivers high and in, 1 ball, no strikes to Charlie Blackmon. The Rockies scored 3 runs against him in April back at Dodger Stadium. And he gave up 3 runs to the Giants, and he beat them. Blackmon with a base hit into right field. So Greinke retired the Rockies in order in the first inning, but leadoff hits in each of the next 4 innings.
The Rockies seem to have a little bit of strategy that the league has taken against Clayton Kershaw to swing a little bit earlier in the count. Zach showing that he's going to throw strikes, and they're attacking.
Well, Mayhew, who was born in Visalia but lives outside of Detroit now. 1 for 2. Quick toss to first base. Blackman's back with a head first slide. But Mayhew takes a strike. He is the tallest second baseman in the game at 6 feet 4 inches. Tulowitzki on deck. No balls and 2 strikes to LeMahieu.
This is the beginning of the 3rd time around in the order against Zach Greinke, and first time around plate appearances going into this game, teams are hitting 247. Second time around the order, 143. Third time around the order, 147. He just pretty much gets stronger. He's going to pitch in traffic here again this inning.
Tulowitzki, then Cargo after this. Comebacker. 1-6-3. Greinke to Rollins to Gonzalez. Watching Greinke, not for a moment was he flummoxed. He knew exactly what he had to do, and he did it.
Kids at home, we don't want you to play in traffic, and Zach Greinke doesn't like to pitch in traffic, and he erases these two, a runner and a batter. And you are so right. Both guys, Jimmy Rollins and Zach Greinke, like they were walking in the park.
Veterans all, and now 2 out, nobody on, and Tulowitzki coming up. Well, Greinke, Gold Glove winner. Rollins, Gold Glove winner. Gonzalez, Gold Glove winner. No balls and a strike to Tulowitzki. He didn't play in the first game. Carlos Gonzalez is on deck. Grandal, Ethier, and Callaspo will bat for the Dodgers when we head to the 6th. Into short right. Kike Hernandez taking charge. And that'll do it. So the leadoff single by Blackmon erased on the double play. Tulowitzki pops out. We go to the 6th. Dodgers 4, Rockies 3. sixth. Yasmani Grandal will lead it off in the inning. And boy, what a month of May he had, Alana.
Well, Charlie, he's looking for his first hit in the young month of June, but he certainly had plenty of hits in the month of May, and that's after starting off the season a bit slow, a 189 average in the month of April, but 375 in the month of May. Mark McGwire saying that he found his base, basically found his footing. By doing that, he's been able to use his hands more. He has confidence in the strike zone instead of trying to feel through every at-bat.
0 for 2 tonight is Grandal as we begin the sixth. And he grounds one up the middle into center field for a base hit. The Rockies had the shift on. They've had the shift on a couple of times tonight. Rollins singled to center through the shift, and so did Grandal to begin the sixth inning.
Up the middle, a lot of times the shift does not cover that, because the reason they shift so much is because you are to one side or the other predominantly, and Yasmani, they had him played to right field.
Now Andre Ethier stepping in. Andre, a pinch hitter in the first game. 0 for 1, and he's 0 for 2 in the second game. Takes a strike, 0-1. Callaspo on deck. The Dodgers lead by 1. Giants and Pirates later.
A lot easier to see right now as you look at that visual from behind home plate. No more glare, no more patches of light.
And now the lights here at Coors Field beginning to take effect. 2-1 to Andre Ethier. He's got a hit in 9 of his last 11, hitting .324 in that span. Full number. Hale. There's 1 and 2. 1-6-3. Ethier is done. 2 out and nobody on.
That one was a little harder than the one that Zach Greinke and Jimmy Rollins turned. Hale did a nice job getting off the mound, feeding Troy Tulowitzki, including having the base runner, Yasmani Grandal, in his peripheral vision, throws a strikeout to Troy Tulowitzki, and the reason it got turned is Tulowitzki's strong arm. But Hale jumps off the mound right here and makes this throw. When you see that runner right there, to still throw it accurately, but look at the BB that Troy throws over there to first.
Now Callaspo. Alberto Callaspo 1 for 2 tonight. Rollins on deck, 4-3 Dodgers. And a routine ground ball to May, who stumbled for a moment. That's it, no runs and 1 hit. Cargo, Arenado, and Paulson will bat for the Rockies in the bottom of the 6th against Zach Greinke. The Dodge Challenger with an EPA estimated 30 highway MPG. This car was made for driving in California. Visit Dodge.com today. So Zach Greinke goes to the bottom half of the sixth, having thrown to this point 65 pitches, 41 for strikes. But in each of the last 4 innings, he has given up a leadoff base hit. He did so to Carlos Gonzalez back in the 4th inning. Gonzalez is 2 for 2 and a run scored. Each team with 7 hits. All 4 of the Dodger runs have come by way of home run tonight. Arenado on deck. Greinke's 66 pitch. Pulled the string, and Gonzalez nearly came out of his shoe. Kike Hernandez, a solo home run in the 1st. Jock Peterson hit his 4th home run in as many games. That one traveled 472 feet. And Adrian Gonzalez hit a 2-run home run. The Rockies came up with a couple of runs in the bottom of the 3rd on 3 base hits, 2 more runs on 2 hits in the 4th. Comebacker. Gold Glove winner Zach Greinke, 1 out. He is perfectly positioned to field his spot immediately after the completion of throwing the ball.
And it's something that's really not taught once you get into minor league baseball, is how to follow through, because at this level it is so much about getting the hitter out. And if you happen to be able to throw the ball really well and end up in a good fielding position, they will accept that. But very few organizations and pitching coaches will teach someone to follow through in a way that you can be a good fielder. It's more about leveraging the ball and getting the hitter out. But he has such great straight line direction with his center of gravity. His mechanics are very solid and basic. He ends up on the balls of his feet when he lands. And so he has tremendous balance with the header in the center of his body, and he is ready to field.
A terrific all-around athlete, Zach Greinke, in search of his 6th win of the year. One and one to Arenado. He's bounced into a double play and single to left. Greinke won the Gold Glove last year. The Cy Young in 2009. Has been to the All-Star game a couple of times, and the Silver Slugger Award. (17-8) a year ago, and here he is 5-1 in his 11th start. To shortstop, Rollins throws out Arenado.
Zach's kind of a rich man's Greg Maddux, because he's going to make more money than Greg. Can't say he's a poor man's Greg Maddux. But, you know, Greg threw as hard as Zach does early in his career and then started to back off to gain more accuracy. Greg had outstanding changeup, but his was a little slower than Zach's. Greg's command was a little bit better.
Line drive into right field. A 2-out base hit for Ben Paulson. He continues to impress. And the other thing about Maddux, he was one of the great defenders at his position.
Gold Glove winner, and you know, that same kind of mind that Zach has about breaking down a hitter and breaking and applying his stuff to the situation into the hitter.
So Greinke, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th struggled a bit. It was aided by a double play in the 2nd inning.
Those pitch counts are very low when you've pitched with the bases loaded a few times.
Hundley has singled, scored a run, and bounced out, but got an RBI on a fielder's choice in the 4th inning.
And to take nothing away from Greg Maddux, I think he pitched with a little wider strike zone. Some of these pitches that are just off the corner, the corners seem to be bigger in Atlanta.
With Glavine and Smoltz to boot.
Just that whole generation, the outside corner, our generation, the outside corner was a little bigger.
Well, there was no pitch tracks then. The strike zone was basically determined by the home plate umpire that day.
We'd see some huge ones. I remember the World Series where Eric Gregg was behind the plate. One of the widest ones I've ever seen in my life.
Or anybody else for that matter.
Livan Hernandez was the beneficiary, but not to take anything away from him. He threw a great game against Cleveland. But wow.
If they're going to call a strike way outside in the left-handed batter's box, keep throwing there.
Exactly.
12 ground ball outs for Greinke tonight. Now he falls behind 3-1. Brandon Barnes on deck. Dodgers with a run in the first have not trailed in this game.
Well, Zach with 77 pitches, up third next inning. Real no risk of letting him continue as far as the pitch count, but right here he'd like to get the Dodgers in the dugout.
Into right center field, that's going to be tough. And that's going to go off the wall. Paulson rounding third. Here's a throw to the plate, and he is safe. And arriving at third base is Hundley, and the Rockies have tied it at 4.
Ben Paulson had a small piano jump on his back coming around third, and I didn't think the Dodgers had any chance of throwing him out with that ball in right center. And Doc Peterson gets this ball in a hurry off the wall. It caroms right to him. He plays it very well, gets it in, and a very strong throw from Kiki Hernandez right on line. Yasmani out in front of the plate because of the new rules. You can't block the plate. In the olden days, he might have blocked him off of that. He just barely gets in here, but right about here. Oh, that's Hundley. I thought that was Paulson.
Now Brandon Barnes takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Brooks Brown is now warming up in the Rocky bullpen. Daniel Descalso in the on-deck circle. And the Dodger bullpen is beginning to loosen up down there. Nobody's thrown a pitch yet. Line drive, right field, base hit. Barnes knocks in Hundley, and the Rockies take a 5-4 lead. A 2-out rally.
Very disappointing. Zach's a pitch away from being in the dugout with a 1-run lead. Now he's battling to keep the club down by 1. High fastball, tomahawks it out there to right field with a line drive. Does Barnes. PK gave it his best effort, but didn't have enough ups.
And now Descalso. And the Rockies with their first lead of the night. The 5 runs given up by Greinke. Ground ball in the hole at short. Rollins will throw to Hernandez to end the inning. The 5 runs given up by Greinke tonight, the most he's given up in a game all season. We go to the 7th. in 3 hits in the bottom of the 6th. Now the Rockies have a 5-4 lead. That was Greinke due to hit here in the top half of the 7th inning, due to bat third. Dodger bullpen is limbering up.
I think it'll be a situational thing, Charlie, where what happens is it first and second no out? Is it second and third no out? Is it man on first, 1 out? What is it going to be, the situation where Don Mattingly will decide what he wants to do?
He's a terrific bunter on top of everything else, Greinke. Now Brooks Brown is on in relief for the Rockies. Brown on Sunday in Philadelphia came into the game with the bases loaded, nobody out, and struck out the side. He has been scoreless in 10 of his 17 outings this year. David Hale went 6 innings, 4 runs and 7 hits. Gave up 3 home runs, but he leaves the game. He can only win it and cannot lose it. Rollins leads off. The shift is on, and Rollins takes low and outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Rollins defied the shift in his first at-bat when he singled to center, but struck out in his second at-bat. 5-4 Colorado. Chris Heisey is on deck. That's Josh Raven, who is just called up today. Well, we'll see about whether or not Greinke comes up.
Got helmet in hand, but it look like he's creeping towards the top step.
Well, a 4-pitch walk to Rollins to begin the 7th inning. Again, Silver Slugger Award winner, a good bunter. So we'll see. There's Justin Turner. Again, a lot of it will depend on what Heisey does or doesn't do here. Heisey tonight 0 for 2. He's 1 for 4 in the first game.
Lots of ways to play this with Justin Turner in the on-deck circle. You put Zach Greinke out there. You don't expose who your possible pinch hitter is. Nobody's in the game until they're announced and the umpire points them in. You'd also get a hit right here, and Zach Greinke can come up and bunt. Also, they pull Turner back. You're not going to put Justin Turner up there first and second no out and ask him to bunt, so you might pull him back, let Zach go up and execute the bunt. You might tell Zach he's even done with the pitching, depending on what they want to do with that at the end of the inning, but Zach would still be in the game and have an opportunity to go out and pitch.
There's a strike. With the roster moves made today, the Dodgers have but 4 bench players: Ellis, Kendrick, Turner, and Guerrero. Austin Barnes set out between games. No balls and a strike to Heisey. Rollins has 5 stolen bases in 9 tries. Nobody out, top of the 7th. Heisey takes low.
The leadoff walk, and Jimmy Rollins is definitely occupying the attention of Brooks Brown. Brown trying to be quick to the plate. Sometimes when you're quick to the plate, you have a tendency to miss up. Could be a cookie for Heisey to hit. One ball and 2 strikes. There it was. Top of the strike zone down the middle. Chris Heisey gave it a lick. Take a look where this ball's located. It almost put it on a tee.
Brown spent some time on the DL. His right shoulder was inflamed. He's been back a couple of weeks now. So he can strike him out. 22 strikeouts in 27 innings, only 6 walks. And holds at 1-2. Turner in the on-deck circle had a big pinch hit home run about a month ago here at Coors Field on bitterly cold Sunday afternoon.
Chris Heisey gets in protection mode right here and tries to stay inside the ball. The right side of the infield is wide open, playing him up the middle.
Outfield straight away. We'll see another pitch. Brooks Brown is 6'3", 205 out of Statesboro, Georgia. Made 28 appearances last year with the Rockies in what was his rookie year. Here's the 1-2. Here goes Rollins. Swinging a slow roller to third. Arenado has only one play, and that's the first. So Rollins goes to second. Heisey grounds out. And now Justin Turner indeed will bat. Talking about that home run on May the 10th here at Coors Field against Scott Oberg.
That pinch hit was in the 8th. This one would be nice if he does and duplicates it here in the 7th.
Dodgers would score 4 in the 8th in that game and win 9-8. Coldest day of the year for the Dodgers, and now it's out of Greinke's hands and in the hands of Justin Turner. Turner at .298, and throughout his career, again in Baltimore, then in New York, and now at the Dodgers, he's been a really good clutch hitter. .345 this year with a runner in scoring position. He whacks it foul up the third base line. 0-2. Jock Peterson is on deck. Turner, with his 5 home runs, has 7 doubles, .387 on base percentage, up behind 0-2.
Big RBI right here for the Dodgers. Down to their last 8 outs, down by 1. Jimmy got on with the leadoff walk, trying to make him pay for that free pass.
Slow roller, foul. You just don't want to hit it to that guy.
Even the foul balls, he plays well. Nolan Arenado, the best in the business at third base.
And in just his 3rd big league season.
Working over the sunflower seeds.
So Greinke's night is done.
he can still win.
Turner's going to have to take care of some business, and Peterson after that. In the dirt, blocked nicely by Nick Hundley. So Greinke's night, 5 runs and 10 hits in 6 innings, 2 strikeouts and a walk. He only had 1 perfect inning. That was the first. Here's the 1-2 to Justin Turner from Brooks Brown. Grounded to third. Two out.
Here's the Morongo slow-mo cam, and Arenado does it all down there, including faking the runner back. A lot of guys look him back. He actually gives you the, I'm going to load my gun and really bluff you.
As if to say, don't you dare. Well, here's Jock Peterson, who has homered in 3 at-bats. He has homered in 4 consecutive games. At this point, the Dodgers would be just thrilled with a base hit. Rollins, good speed at second with 2 out. One ball and no strikes to Jock Peterson. Now with 16 home runs on the year. Here comes the 1-0. There goes Rollins, swing and a miss. And the stolen base by Jimmy Rollins. His 6th of the year.
If you're going to steal third with 2 outs, you got to make sure you're going to make it, and you got to do it early in the count, so you're not doing it when the hitter has 2 strikes. Jimmy has plenty of room there because of the shift. Really no one holding him on.
So a wild pitch can score a run now.
Wild pitch, pass ball, error, balk.
1 ball, 1 strike to Peterson. The shift is on, and Jock takes low, 2-1.
You mentioned 4 games in a row home runs. Jock's manager is tied for #1 all time in that category with 8. Ken Griffey Jr.
Dale Long.
1956 Pirates.
2-2 to Jock Peterson.
This swing is a result of being fooled on the changeup. He gave as much extension as possible to try and make contact, swung and missed, and the one-arm swing was as he let go of the top hand and spun like a top.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out. Rollins a tying run at third. Peterson gets time from home plate umpire Chris Guccione. Brooks Brown, in case you're wondering, has thrown 2 wild pitches this year. Rollins can extend his lead at third with Arenado playing way off the line. Fly ball, left field, in and over toward the line is Anthony, runs out of room.
You know, Charlie, Brooks Brown, the changeup is one of his best pitches, and he stands on the extreme first base side, barely on the rubber, to give himself an angle with that changeup to left-handed hitters, and that's what he's been attacking Jock with. You watch when he puts his toe on the edge there, and he gives the illusion that he's really on the rubber when he comes set closed with the front foot, but he is stealing as much angle as possible to give for his changeup.
The 2-2. Into left center field, actually right center field, and that's going to roll to the wall. In to score is Rollins, Jock Peterson. He's on his way to third. Here's the throw, and he's going to make it. Jock Peterson, his second RBI of the night. He's tied the score at 5.
Jock Peterson gets the extension. The changeup is away. It's off the plate. He has to one-hand it, but he hits it in the gap with power, and he gets himself a triple. Zach Greinke on the bench had a hook in his mouth, looking like he might get an L. But Jock right there had him spit the hook.
Peterson's first big league triple. He's tied the score. And Kike Hernandez is coming up. Dodgers with a chance to reclaim the lead. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Hernandez has homered and singled. And he has scored 2. Peterson has knocked in 2. Gonzalez on deck has driven in 2. That one is well hit. Blackman going back. At the wall, he'll make the catch a couple of steps in front of the wall. Hernandez gave it a pretty good poke. But the leadoff walk to Rollins, the 2-out triple for Peterson. Greinke cannot lose it anymore. The Dodgers and the Rockies are tied at 5 in the 7th inning stretch. So Justin Turner is inserted into the game. He pinch hit in the 7th. He'll play at second base. Yimi Garcia will bat in the second spot, at least in the lineup, for Kike Hernandez, who made the final out of the 7th. And so Garcia will face the top of the Rockies order in the bottom half of the 7th. Got ourselves a new game, tied at 5. Charlie Blackman takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Garcia's 24th appearance. And batters are hitting just 188 against him. Into short center. Turner is out. And Peterson coming in, calling off both Turner and Rollins. Be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance on June 4th. This Thursday night, the Cardinals are in town and receive a Kenley Jansen bobblehead presented by State Farm. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Peterson came in from reasonably deep center field to call off Rollins and Turner for the first out. Now LeMahieu, who's 1 for 3 and has driven in a run. Garcia going outside, 1 ball and no strikes.
Jock has caught 2 tough fly balls from Charlie Blackmon. The one in the deep right center that he had to run a country mile for, and then that one that was hit a country mile high. And he had to run a mile into shallow center field.
Quite a night, quite a doubleheader for Jock Peterson.
Back in studio pregame, Jerry Hairston Jr. has him as an MVP candidate by the end of the year. Sees that kind of growth in the young man.
Low and outside, 2-1.
I don't know if we want to put those kind of expectations on him, but I guess I just did. Rockies with their 2-out rally put us down by 1, and then we got the 2-out RBI from Jock that evened it back up.
2-2. The Dodgers in the first nearly 3 games of this series have hit 8 home runs. 3 tonight, 1 this afternoon, 4 on Monday night. Gonzalez with a 2-run shot tonight.
And it'll be nice to say they won 2 out of 3. They can win this one with that kind of production.
Peterson, a home run and a triple in 4 at-bats tonight. This afternoon, a home run, a walk, 2 strikeouts. Jimmy Rollins hit a home run the other night. And Mayhew fouls it off to the left. Dodgers were held to 6 runs in 3 games in St. Louis. They've hit 8 home runs alone here in Colorado. And LeMahieu's not going to go quietly into this good night. Tulowitzki is on deck. Giants with a 2-0 lead in the 2nd inning against the Pirates.
Nerve-wracking time to pitch. Back end of the game, Coors Field, tied. I don't care if there's 2 out, nobody on, 1 out, nobody on. Every pitch could change the game, especially in the ballpark like this, the way the ball's carrying tonight.
Blackmon popped out. LeMahieu fighting it out with Garcia. He just misses.
Yimi's breaking ball doesn't break a whole lot. Good off speed and good little wrinkle right here, right on the outside corner, but no. Pitch track says no, and Chris Guccione says no.
And LeMahieu has worked the count full. Tulo and Cargo are next. That's some at bat by DJ LeMahieu, who is now 2 for 4.
He took the borderline pitches, he fought off the strikes that were good pitches, and he waited for the mistake, and Yimi paid for it. This ball is left up. Inner half. Does a nice job opening up the front side and getting the barrel to the ball and driving it up the middle.
On the 9th and final pitch of that at-bat, LeMahieu singles to center. He was 2 for 5 in the first game. He's 2 for 4 tonight. And here's Tulowitzki, who is 0 for 3. 1 out, 1 on in the 7th.
I'd almost rather face Tulowitzki when he was 2 for 4 or something than 0 for 3. 0 for 3 makes him sound due. 2 for 4, he'd be due to make an out. Looks like he's got brand new lumber up there with the offer going. He's trying something new in this at bat.
Carlos Gonzalez, who's 2 for 3, is on deck. Garcia misses outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Like the Dodger bullpen about to get busy again.
There's not a dent or a scratch on that bat he's got up there. Trying to change some things up. That offer working.
Tulowitzki, 4 home runs, 21 runs batted in. 2-1. Swinging through a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
When it's high, let it fly, and that's what Tulo did. Just didn't get up on top of it. Hands about ball height. That means the barrel is below the baseball.
Garcia on in relief of Greinke. Outfield very deep and straight away. Heisey, Peterson, and Ethier. 2-2.
Rockies giving us a much tougher battle this time in here than they did last time, of course. They came off a 5-1 road trip against Philadelphia and Cincinnati and a Philadelphia sweep of 4 games. Not the toughest opponents, but it sure bolstered their confidence, and they're playing with the eye of the tiger right now.
They've won 6 out of their last 8, including the first game of this day-night doubleheader, 6-3. Garcia on 2-2. Couldn't put away LeMahieu. 9 pitches in that at-bat. LeMahieu had singled to center. Now he's trying to put away Tulowitzki.
Yimi's strength is his velocity and his accuracy. The velocity usually never goes down. But some days he has had trouble with the accuracy and been more in the middle of the plate. And since he's mostly one speed, hard fastball, hard slider, a little easier for the hitters to square up if he misses his spots.
Again, the 2-2. Well hit to center field. Peterson's going back at the wall, and it is gone. A 2-run home run for Troy Tulowitzki. The real chick in the armor for Yimi Garcia this year has been the long ball. That's the 4th one he's given up, and the Rockies now have a 7-5 lead.
Tulowitzki fouled back some high fastballs. He finally got on top of one. That one's about the same height, but he got his hands above it, and Yimi did not want to see that ball go over the fence.
And that'll be the end of the line, as Mattingly is going to come and get him. Got Blackman easily, but a 9-pitch at bat. LeMahieu would single to center, and then Tulowitzki hit one over the wall to center. And the Rockies now lead it 7-5. fifth. And now the Rockies have a 2-run lead.
Adam Libator trying to restore the order right here, and the way this ballpark has given up home runs, the Dodgers just need to get somebody on when they get on the offensive side, and they'll have a very good chance of tying this game up. But the key is to get in the dugout with only that 2-run deficit, and that's Adams' job.
And Libator has just been sensational in his rookie year. This is his 16th appearance. 14 strikeouts in 14 innings. He's given up 2 runs and 7 hits. And so the Rockies now with the 7-5 lead. Arenado on deck. Libator delivers. The ball's in a strike. Troy Tulowitzki, a career .299 hitter. And really, since the retirement of Todd Helton, he's become the face of this franchise. And when the Rockies were struggling so bad early May, let's talk about whether or not he might be traded. And finally said, no, this is where I want to stay. So he delivers the big 2-run home run over the wall in center. Into short left. Here's Chris Heisen. Second out of the 7th. Arenado coming up, looking ahead to the 8th. Adrian Gonzalez, Yasmani Grandal, and Andre Ethier. Giants hitting in the bottom of the 2nd, a 2-0 lead over the Pirates at AT&T Park. Arenado 1 for 3. Pops it foul. Dodgers, when they arrived at work this morning, had a 1.5-game lead. At the moment, it's a 1-game lead. And unless things turn around and the Giants hang on and beat the Pirates very early, it'll be a tie for first tomorrow morning. Into short right. Ethier's there. Libator retires the 2 batters he faces, but not before a 9-pitch at-bat won by LeMahieu. He singled to center, and Troy Tulowitzki homered over the wall in center. And we'll go to the 8th. Dodgers down 2. has given the Rockies a 7-5 lead. The Dodgers battled back in the top of the 7th to tie the score. But Garcia gives up a single to LeMahieu, the home run to Tulo, and the Dodgers are down 2 as we go to the top of the 8th, and the lefty Boone Logan is on in relief, making his 22nd appearance. Logan pitched an inning and 2/3 this afternoon.
Should have no trouble getting loose. Go out there, and it's really not that hard. Where the toughness comes is the next day from the wear and tear of today. It's not necessarily the fact that you've already pitched today and it's been 3-4 hours since then. Your body can kind of stay warm and you can stay ready. You play a little catch in between games. But it's tomorrow when you've had 2 ups and 2 ins that you feel it.
Well, you got Gonzalez, a left-handed hitter, Grandal, a switch hitter, and Ethier, a lefty. Callaspo and Rollins, switch hitters. So we'll see how far Logan goes. Meanwhile, the Rockies have additional bullpen activity. They've got a shift on for Adrian Gonzalez as we begin the 8th, and he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Gonzalez, a 2-run home run in the 3rd, 1 for 3. Takes a strike, and it's 1-1. Oh, and 2. Down goes Gonzo. First out of the 8th. Alana Rizzo downstairs.
Adrian Gonzalez led the league in RBIs in 2014, having a tremendous 2015 so far. 38 RBIs so far. Top of the list as far as the latest NL All-Star votes at first base. Howie Kendrick in 4th behind former Dodger D. Gordon. Yasmani Grandal on the list as well in 5th. Buster Posey leading the way behind the plate. And Jock Peterson leading the rookies with home runs, but he finds himself in 10th place as far as outfielders are concerned. You can certainly vote at MLB.com/All-Star. It appears that we will have a pitching change, gentlemen.
Boone Logan facing one batter, Adrian Gonzalez, and strikes him out. Strikes him out on 3 pitches. Now it's up to Scott Oberg to face the switch hitting Yasmani Grandal. Andre Ethier after that. And a 2-run home run by Tulowitzki in the bottom of the 7th. A crushing blow.
And interesting that they took the lefty out and turned Yasmani around to the left side with the ball carrying out the right field, and Yasmani's powered more from the left side. Maybe that's all Boone Logan had as far as the bullets, enough for Gonzalez.
Well, he was efficient. 3 pitches, 3 strikes. Grandal takes high and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Grandal has 5 home runs this year. All 5 from the left-hand side of the plate, but his batting average, righty-lefty, is about the same. The ground ball to second. This easy hop for LeMahieu. That Tulowitzki home run just took all the wind out of the Dodgers' sails.
Those late 1-swing blasts, and that was a 2-run job. I think we'll break that bat down next time the Dodgers are on defense, because it was very interesting, and I think Yimi Garcia will look back at that at bat and understand where he has to improve to get out a great hitter like a Tulo.
Ethier 0 for 3 tonight. 1 ball and no strikes. Andre pinch hit in the first game. 0 for 1. Hitting exactly 300. 2-0. Callaspo on deck. Now remember, with the roster move today, Austin Barnes sent out. Only 4 bench players, now down to 3 as Turner's already in the game. So you got Kendrick, Ellis, and Guerrero on the bench. Ethier takes a strike. 2-1.
The cupboard is almost bare.
Here's a 2-1 and a ground ball to short. Tulo throws out Ethier, and the Dodgers go quietly in the 8th. To the bottom of the 8th we go. Paulson, Hundley, and Barnes coming up, and the Rockies lead by 2. Meet Yimi Garcia tonight.
Well, a bulldog bites right here.
It's a 9-pitch at bat and a 2-run homer, but watch where Yasmani sets up on these fastballs. We're going to see 3 of them. There's that one, and he keeps missing. Low and away? No. Up and in. Well, the concluding pitch right there, trying to go low and away again. To get a veteran hitter, you can't miss your spot more than once or twice. They're going to make you pay.
So Garcia has given up 4 home runs this season. And for Tulowitzki, who went 25 games from the middle of April to the middle of May without a home run, has now hit 3 in his last 4 games. This is Ben Paulson beginning the bottom of the 8th against Adam Libator. 1 ball, 1 strike. Paulson has singled, scored a run, walked, and has been struck out. He was 2 for 4 in the first game. Had a couple of home runs over the weekend in Philadelphia. 2-1. Nick Hundley on deck, then Brandon Barnes. Dodgers now down to their final 3 outs. In danger of being swept in Colorado. In this doubleheader. When the Dodgers beat the Rockies last night 6-3, they had improved their record to Colorado, against Colorado, to 8-3. But now in danger of losing 2 to the Rockies.
Being swept right into a tie for first place if San Francisco holds on to a 2-0 lead.
They're playing in the 3rd at AT&T Park. Fouled off to the left and out of play. We played last night, and it seems like 2 weeks ago. Won last night 11-4. Then this is the second game of this day-night doubleheader. 3 games in 24 hours.
It might take a little while to lick the wounds from this day, so the night game tomorrow will be welcomed by the Dodgers to be able to sleep in a little bit tomorrow.
3-2. Paulson fouls it off to the left. Jorge De La Rosa, who won this afternoon's game. Popped up short center field. Peterson sprinting in, calling off everybody. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports event, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. So 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. Hundley 2 for 3, 2 RBIs and 2 runs scored. Liberatore, the 3rd Dodger pitcher of the night. Greinke struggled, went 6 innings and gave up 5 runs and 10 base hits. Then Garcia faced 3 batters, retired 1, and gave up the 2-run home run to Tulowitzki. And that is how the Dodgers are now trailing 7-5. 1 out, nobody on in the bottom of the 8th. Fair ball. Hundley's got himself a double. And his 3rd hit of the night.
Ball's hit down the line, you're on the mound, and you hear the shattering of the bat. You wince because when you shatter a guy's bat, they usually don't get the head out as much, so they don't hook it foul. When they get it on the barrel and hit it square, they hook it foul. When you jam them and break their bat, the ball doesn't have that kind of spin, and it stays fair sometimes, and that one did.
So now Brandon Barnes coming up. Barnes is 2 for 3, a run scored and an RBI. And for Hundley, his 2nd 3-hit game of the season. Drilled into center field for a base hit. Hundley rounding 3rd. Peterson's throw is not in time, and that allows Barnes to go to second base, and the Rockies now lead it 8-5.
Well, Jacques Peterson threw the ball in the air, missed the cutoff man, but in some ways it's a forgivable sin because when you're down by 2, this third run is huge, and it's more about throwing the guy out at the plate, preventing that third run, than it is about the batter running, getting to second. So Jacques cuts it loose, has a shot at him, but wasn't close at all there.
Willian Rosario is now going to pinch hit. And he'll get a walk for his efforts. That'll get Charlie Blackmon to the plate.
You get the left-on-left situation. Blackmon coming up there. You set up the double play.
We'll look back on this game, and of course, a Tulowitzki home run was the backbreaker. But it was LeMahieu's at bat just before. And 9-pitch at bat. LeMahieu kept fouling one after another off. And then he would single to center field. And then Tulowitzki would hit that 2-run home run, and whatever wind was in the sails when the Dodgers had scored a run in the top half of the 7th to tie the game came out in a hurry.
And you can harken back to the 6th inning, too, when Zach Greinke had a 1-run lead with 2 outs, but a 3-1 count on the hitter, and they built a 2-out rally from there to score 2 and put us down by 1 back there.
In that 6th inning, Gonzalez and Arenado had grounded out. Paulson singled to right. Hundley doubled, one of his 3 base hits tonight. And then Barnes would drive in a run.
Those 2-out RBIs. They hurt a lot. They help a lot on the offensive side, and they hurt a lot on the defensive side.
Blackmon with 2 on and 1 out. And then in the 8th, the Dodgers went down 1-2-3. But the Pirates have come up with 4 in the 3rd. They've got A.J. Burnett going tonight. Well hit to left. Heisey going back. And he will track it down. The runners must retreat.
Exceptional jump and great route just run by Chris Heisey. The break, the angle, and he doesn't miss a step right there. Keeping his eye on the ball the whole way. Never had to really feel for the wall because he didn't feel the dirt under his feet on the warning track. Nice catch.
Mattingly's coming out. There's going to be a double switch. LeMahieu is due up. Well, the Dodgers' newest pitcher, Josh Raven, is coming in. Part of a double switch. Alex Guerrero will take over in left with 2 out. In the bottom of the 8th, the Rockies lead by 3. Josh Raven, a local product, born in West Hills, lives in Tarzana, is finally making his major league debut. In 14 appearances in Oklahoma City, he did just fine. He's got a powerful arm. We saw him some in spring training and certainly caught the attention of the Dodger front office, and here he is. So the Dodgers make some moves. Guerrero comes in. He'll play left field. Heisey moves from left to right. Ethier's out of the game. DJ LeMahieu with a one-out single to center that preceded the home run by Tulowitzki that turned this game around. With 2 on and 2 out, and now the count is 1-1.
It's always fun for DJ LeMahieu to come in, young guy he's never seen, and throw a 98.
He heard that one.
A wake-up call. Remember Josh throwing this hard in spring training. He might have gotten a little more shape, and I'd say he's probably got a little more adrenaline as of today. Running through that body. He's not hyperventilating.
Out of Chatsworth High School, Josh Raven. Runner goes from second to third. Barnes will have to return. Barnes from Anaheim. Raven and Tarzana.
Raven just threw it low and away in a hitter's count right on the edge at 99. If that doesn't get you excited about a youngster coming from the minors.
Bounced around a lot since 2006 when he was a draftee of the Cincinnati Reds. And he gets him. Welcome to the bigs, Josh Raven. Last licks for the Dodgers as we go to the ninth. Iaspo, Rollins, and Heisey. And Josh Raven is now officially in the baseball encyclopedia. Down for the Rockies. Faced one batter in the 8th inning of the first game and got Howie Kendrick to bounce out. So Bencourt's making his 22nd appearance. A 3.44 ERA, and opponents hitting well under 200 against him. 19 strikeouts, 3 walks. Iaspo, Rollins, and Heisey to bat. Dodgers and Rockies will wrap it up tomorrow. It'll be Mike Bolsinger and Chad Bettis. Then after that game, Dodgers will fly home and begin a 4-game series with the Cardinals beginning Thursday night. So it's not going to get any easier, but at least the Dodgers are going home where they have a record of 21-7.
A lot of tests coming up in the next 30 days or so. We have 34 games in 34 days, including today, and the Cardinals on the heels of this doubleheader in the game tomorrow.
A week from Thursday, the Dodgers will not play. They'll just be traveling instead down to San Diego. Next real day off is July the 2nd. Betancourt's first pitch of the ninth. Callaspo takes high and in, 1 ball, no strikes. Callaspo tonight is 1 for 3. Got the start at third base. And he takes a strike. 1-1. Betancourt came up with the Indians in 2003. In 2007, at 68 appearances, he had an ERA of 147. Missing outside, and it's 2-1. He's played all over the place, up to and including Yokohama. He's now 40. Callaspo doesn't like the call, and it's 2-2.
Looked a little high to me. Let's see what Pitch Tracks thinks.
Looked a little high to Betancourt too, or rather to Callaspo.
High and away.
Instead, 2-2. Dodgers need base runners.
A walk would give them a little bit of hope. Base hit would give them some hope. Betancourt doesn't want either one of those things to happen.
The Rockies with their 14 hits tonight, the most since April 24th. They had 15 against the Giants. But Callaspo starts the ninth with a single to center. He's 2 for 4 tonight, and Rollins coming up.
Good job not popping that ball up. That's that high so-called strike that was called earlier. You had to swing at it because it was approximately the same place. Stayed on top of it. Hit a line drive. Good piece of hitting.
If Rollins gets aboard, then Heisey would be the potential tying run at the plate. Rollins tonight has singled, struck out, walked, and scored a run. Takes a strike, nothing in 1. Rollins hit a home run last night, his 6th of the year. Arenado even with the bag at third. Rollins takes outside, 1-1.
And 1 run the Rockies got now in the bottom of the 8th. Boy, does that change this at bat completely. Everybody can reach the fences here tonight. Jimmy Rollins already has a home run here in Colorado that you mentioned, Charlie, but 1 on, down by 2 with no outs would have been huge.
Through the middle into center field for a base hit. Callaspo holds at second. Well, the Dodgers with a pulse here in the 9th. Tying run coming to the plate in Chris Heisey.
Instead of taking 1 base runner to get the situation, it now takes 2, and Jimmy does the second one. 2 base hits up the middle, 1 to the left of second base, 1 to the right of second base, and that sets the table. Now somebody needs to clear it.
So here is Heisey. Had 10 home runs and 19 runs batted in 28 games at AAA Oklahoma City. He's the tying run at the plate. And he drills a base hit into center field. Callaspo will be held at third. The Dodgers are in business now. The bases are loaded and nobody out.
Fasten your seatbelts. We're in mile-high air, and we've got guys that hit balls over fence in any air coming up.
Justin Turner, of course, back on that frigid Mother's Day with the pinch hit home run when the Dodgers scored 4 in the 8th to stage that 9-8 come from behind win. Steve Foster, the pitching coach, trying to settle down his battery. So Turner's coming up, and guess who's on deck? Jock Peterson. And Tommy Kahnle is going to work in a hurry. Turner bounced to third in his first at-bat. Callaspo at third, Rollins at second, Heisey's at first, Betancourt delivers. Drilled to left, but foul. Oh, Turner got it all. This is Turner's first time up this year with the bases loaded.
Looking for something up. Want to stay out of the double play, and you want to hit it over the fence with some power. Justin lets it go early in the count in the first pitch because he gets something up. Just a little anxious. Pulled it foul.
Turner 345 with runners in scoring position. 1 ball, 1 strike. Peterson on deck, then Guerrero, then Gonzalez. Callaspo, Rollins, and Heisey, the base runners. Ball and a strike and nobody out. There's a strike, 1 and 2.
Breaking ball. Usually you don't get the breaking ball up for a strike, but he gets that one. Crossed pretty high up there.
So the tying runs are aboard. Turner is the potential lead run. Peterson with a home run and a triple and 4 at-bats on deck. The 1-2 to Justin Turner. 1 out and missed, strike 3. That's the first out.
Justin grinding on the high strike call that in some ways forced him to swing at that one. He gets in between, and frustration now exploding out of his body.
Turner, of course, was called out on strikes to end the game on Sunday night in St. Louis. Well, now here's Jock Peterson. Homered this afternoon, 477 feet worth. And tonight, 472 feet to center, and then he's tripled. He is the lead run. Peterson pops it up into short left field. Sprinting in is Barnes. He's got it. Now the Dodgers are down to their final out, and Alex Guerrero coming up.
Justin Turner on his first pitch. Got a good pitch to hit. Swung at it, pulled it foul. Jock Peterson, his first pitch, gets a good pitch to hit. Pops it up. Alex Guerrero, he'll do the same if he gets one in the middle of the plate up. hopefully he'll get a better result.
Guerrero 375 with runners in scoring position. One for two with the bases loaded. The Dodgers are down to their final out. Guerrero with 9 home runs. 8-5 Colorado. Foul back, 0-1.
The 3 first pitch swings since the bases have been loaded, that was the toughest pitch to hit. This one ends up blowing away. Betancourt hit his spot. Alex looking for that same fastball that the other 2 guys got, but in a little better location that one was.
9 home runs, 21 runs batted in for Alex Guerrero. All Jock Peterson can do now is watch. A brief meeting at the mound involving Nick Hundley, Rafael Betancourt, and Troy Tulowitzki. Eight runs, 14 hits for the Rockies. 5 runs, 11 hits for the Dodgers. 2 out, bases loaded. Top half of the ninth. On 0-1. High and away. Adrian Gonzalez is on deck.
All the hitters this inning at one time or another, since the bases loaded, have been heroes one time or another this year. Guerrero with the chance now.
Dodgers are now down to their final strike.
Betancourt's really only thrown 1 breaking ball, the high breaking ball that got called for a strike. Really been sticking with just the fastball.
One ball, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Betancourt about to throw his 19th pitch. Fly ball, center field. Back goes Blackman. He's at the wall, and it's gone! A grand slam home run with 2 out in the 9th inning. The Dodgers come off the mat and lead 9-8. Biggest hit of the year for the Dodgers, Alexander Guerrero. Dodgers down to their final strike at a grand slam.
I don't care how much money you make, how long you've played baseball. When that happens for your team, everybody goes crazy, and that Dodger bench just lit up when Alex cleared the 415 mark.
Biggest hit of his major league career, may have been the biggest hit of his life. Guerrero, a 2-out grand slam home run over the wall, straightaway center field. The Dodgers come from behind and lead it 9-8. this moment than Alexander Guerrero. I'm not entirely sure who it is. It made it by that much. A grand slam home run on a 1-2 count, 2 out in the 9th inning, and the Dodgers down 8-5, now lead it 9-8. Yeah.
We've got a couple of rookies that they don't know anything about a 2-strike approach. They cut it loose. Jock Peterson and Alex Guerrero swinging from their heels and reaching the fences.
Now Gonzalez takes a strike, 0-1. So here are the Dodgers now. 18 of the 23 runs they have scored in this series have come by way of the home run. More than 3/4 of them. Tonight, 4 home runs. A home run this afternoon. 8 of the 9 home runs tonight. 8 of the 9 runs tonight have come by way of home run. Gonzalez whistles one foul. Boy, I hope that got nobody. Ooh. Alex Guerrero. Oh, watch out. Biggest hit of the year for the Dodgers to this moment. They were down to their final strike. Tommy Kahnle, by the way, is the new pitcher. Rafael Betancourt gave up singles to Callaspo, Rollins, and Heisen. Turner would strike out. Peterson would fly out. And on a 1-2 pitch in the 9th inning, Guerrero the grand slam to straightaway center field. And as a result, Kenley Jansen is now warming in the bullpen.
It's one of those mile-high magical games where it is not over until it's over.
And he'll be facing the guts of the Rocky lineup: Tulowitzki, Cargo, and Arenado. 2-2 to Adrian Gonzalez, who fouls it off to the left and out of play.
The last 3.5 innings, been 10 runs.
Welcome to Coors Field. Dodgers led 4-3 going into the bottom of the 6th. It is now 9-8. 2-2 to Gonzalez. Did he check his swing? Yep. Grandal is on deck.
Adrian's not trying to get on. He's trying with 2 out, nobody on to get an insurance run, even with the count 3-2.
He'll take the walk instead.
It wasn't even close. An uncompetitive pitch right out of his hand. Adrian takes it easy, but he was looking for something up that he could drive.
Yasmani Grandal 1 for 4. Dodgers with 4 runs here in the 9th. 4 hits and a grand slam by Guerrero. Grandal swings and misses, 0-1.
You move from hanging your head to puffing your chest out with one swing of the bat.
From looking at your shoes to looking to the sky. Grandal takes a strike. And is 0-2.
And there was so much hope in the inning with bases loaded, no out, and then all of a sudden it's 2 out and 2 strikes. And that's not coming off the mat. I don't know what is. It just touches the top of the strike zone.
No balls, 2 strikes. And that's a broken bat base hit into right field. Holding at second is Gonzalez. Kendrick is coming up. He'll be pinch hitting. It's remarkable. This year, the Dodgers have now scored 236 runs, including the 9 tonight. 117 of them have come by way of the home run. 49.6%.
Go ahead and round up.
50-50. Betancourt can't believe what happened. And on the other side, either can Alex. Now Kendrick against Canely takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Just an improbable top half of the ninth inning. Now it's going to be up to Kenley Jansen in the bottom of the ninth to seal the deal. High and in. 1 ball and 1 strike. Meanwhile, the Pirates have a 5-4 lead after 3.5 in San Francisco. Two and 1 to Kendrick. Callaspo, who began the inning with a single to center, hoping to bat a second time here in the ninth. Kendrick fouls it back. 2-2. Kendrick at 286. 5 home runs, 23 runs batted in. But 364 with runners in scoring position. The Dodgers would love to get some insurance, as if 4 in the ninth isn't enough. Here's the 2-2. 3 balls and 2 strikes. That's Callaspo. Kendrick, full count. The runners will be going. Here they go. Here's the pitch. The bases are loaded again. And the natives are restless, and Walt Weiss can only bite his lower lip. And Steve Foster can only go out and try to calm the nerves of Tommy Kahnle. So after the 2-out grand slam by Guerrero on the 1-2 pitch, Gonzalez walks, Grandal singles, and Kendrick walks. Here's your hero of the moment. Betancourt still can't believe it. And now Callaspo with the bases loaded and 2 out. 10th batter of the ninth. Takes high and away. 1 ball, no strikes. On 1-0. If the Dodgers could seal the deal and Kenley Jansen can record the save, guess who's the winning pitcher? Josh Raven.
Oh, and a 99-mile-an-hour fastball low and away for a called strike 3. Rarely does Kenley Jansen come into a game where the guy before him throws harder.
Here's the 1-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Callaspo. So the Dodgers down to their final strike with the bases loaded and 2 out in the 9th. Guerrero hits a game-leading grand slam. Callaspo takes in the dirt. Blocked by Hundley, 2-2. Raven called up today just for this game. Faces one batter. Strikes him out. It was LeMahieu. Did it on 5 pitches. Two and two, bases loaded, 4 in, 9th inning, Dodgers 9-8. Callaspo will see another pitch.
Coming into this game, Alex Guerrero had a home run every 10.3 at bats. He was 10th in baseball. Hitting that home run, he now has a home run every 9.4 at bats. He is 2nd in all of baseball to only one man, Bryce Harper, who is at 9.1.
And half the Dodgers' runs this season have come by way of the home run. None bigger than his. 2-2, 2 out. Callaspo works the count full. The Rocky bullpen coming into this game had an ERA of 4.5, ranking 14th out of the 15 teams in the league. Walt Weiss and Tom Runnels next to him, the bench coach. 3-2, bases loaded, 2 out. Into center field, but right at Blackman, and that will end the most improbable top half of the 9th inning. Alex Guerrero with the grand slam, and what a grand slam it was. Dodgers 9, Rockies 8. Kenley Jansen coming in. A game of inches. Knew what he was talking about. Charlie Blackman in center field leaped as high as he could and missed it by that much. How close? That close. Guerrero rounding second, still doesn't know what he's got. You could tell when Blackman just kind of landed in a clump in front of the center field wall who hit it out and who missed it by an inch or two. Now it's up to Kenley Jansen to finish it off in what will be, if he does, the Dodgers' most dramatic win of the year. Tulowitzki to lead it off. Tulowitzki, a big home run off Yimi Garcia back in the 7th inning. Jansen delivers a strike, 0-1. We arrived at the ballpark 12 hours ago.
It'll be a much better day if Kenley can get 3 outs before they score.
0-2. It's been a while since Jansen last pitched. It was Monday against the Braves. Jansen in search of his 5th save of the year. Gonzalez and then Arenado here in the 9th. Dodgers 9-8. Tulowitzki stays alive.
Kenley quick pitched him right there. A new little wrinkle to what he brought to the 2015 season. He didn't come set. He picked up, stayed separate, and tried to rush Troy. Watch this. See? Just a little tap and comes right at him. Now he's going to come to the full set.
Just missing with a slider.
Adam Wainwright was hurt. Tommy John surgery. He watched baseball and studied successful pitchers, and he came back to the big leagues with different little wrinkles and strategies. Kenley Jansen looks like he's done the same thing when he was out with his foot injury.
Here's the 1-2 to Tulowitzki. Foul.
I don't think I've ever seen Kenley throw back-to-back sliders. He is really growing as a pitcher. I remember last year we talked about, boy, you're going to have to start pitching in more. And he started to do that. Now he's added the quick pitch, and he'll back up his breaking ball now.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Tulowitzki. Beginning the bottom of the 9th. Cole, strike 3. First out of the bottom of the 9th. Chris Guccione hearing it from Tulowitzki.
Back-to-back sliders away will make the plate look a little wider, and Kenley dots the inside corner with a 95-mile-an-hour cutter. Does it make it back to the plate? Maybe not, but he got the call, and Tulowitzki hangs his head and yells a little bit on his way back to the bench.
1 out in the 9th. Carlos Gonzalez, the hitter. Drills one, pass. Justin Turner into right field for a base hit. Cargo will go to second base. It's misplayed in right field by Chris Heisey. Now the tying run is in scoring position with 1 out.
Fastball, good swing by Cargo, drives it by, this ball gets away as it deflects off Heisey's glove. Fortunately, Jacques came over, didn't give in to the fact of nonchalancing, Chris will get it for sure. If Jacques not there, that's a triple and the man's on third. Instead, Cargo's still on second.
It's called a double. Either way, the tying run now in scoring position. These two teams have combined for 17 runs and 28 hits. Dodgers lead by a run. Arenado is 1 for 4. Takes low and inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Arenado 1 for 4 in his career against Jansen. Well, we've got ourselves a good old-fashioned Coors Field game, don't we? Drag racing to the cliff. Ben Paulson is on deck. Popped foul. 1-1. This will be the 10th pitch of the bottom of the 9th. Jansen set. There's a strike. It's 1-2.
Arenado tried to call timeout right there. Was not given to him. I don't care if you step out or he asked for it, didn't get it. What he did get was a strike call. Cargo out there at second base. That was Kenley Jansen's first hit he's given up of the year, Charlie.
Now the 1-2 to Arenado. Ground ball to short. Bobbled by Rollins. Has time to pick it up and throw him out. Gonzalez goes to third with 2 out. This is why we do what we do as players, as broadcasters, as fans, as writers, watching games like this.
And a lot of exhaling for Dodger fans when that ball is right at Jimmy Rollins and he hangs with it. Adrian Gonzalez giving him a high five with his glove hand. Rick Honeycutt with a little visit here to Kenley to settle him down. 2 hard hit balls. The first balls have been hit hard off of him all year, this being his 6th appearance.
Again, he last appeared a week ago yesterday. So now everybody except Gonzalez and Callaspo on the hill, and Chris Cuccione is going to break this session up.
Paulson, who's coming up to hit, has shown very good plate coverage. If Kenley decides to go away, he's got nice long arms and a heavy long bat that he can reach that pitch, and a lot of times you want to come inside on that guy and crowd him.
Paulson 1 for 3 tonight, and a walk and a run scored, and was 2 for 4 and a home run in the first game. Pirates 5-4 over the Giants in the top of the 5th at AT&T. Now Paulson swings and misses, and it's 0-1.
They were going low and away. It ended up and down the middle. Paulson dropped his hands and Kenley got it past him. It looks like that's where the hole is if he will swing at pitches above the strike zone.
Paulson at 362. A home run this afternoon. The 0-1. Strike 2.
Dodgers were down to their last strike. The Rockies are in the same predicament.
And now time called. Jimmy Rollins coming in to talk with Kenley Jansen. Oh, the bad throw by Yasmani Grandal. Oh.
Jimmy came all the way in just to settle Kenley down and regroup before this next pitch.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, bottom of the 9th. Dodgers 9-8. Jansen to Paulson, high. 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Tying run 90 feet away. 2 out, bottom of the 9th. Dodgers 9, Rockies 8. Jansen to Paulson. Now 2-2. Nick Hundley is on deck. Rafael Betancourt tortured by that 1-2, 2-out grand slam home run by Alex Guerrero. Gonzalez the tying run at third, 2 out in the bottom of the 9th. Jansen's 16th pitch of the game will be his last. And the Dodgers hang on and win their most dramatic game of the year. It was a 1-2 pitch to Alex Guerrero, who hit a grand slam home run. In the top half of the ninth, the Dodgers come from behind, their most dramatic win of the year, beating the Colorado Rockies 9-8. Earlier in the game, Jock Peterson hit his second home run of the day, 472 feet. But so far this year, there's not been a bigger home run hit by any Dodger than Alex Guerrero. And this, quite obviously, is the Lexus play of the game. Blackmon missed it by inches. Betancourt couldn't believe it. And either could Guerrero and the Dodgers. What a ball game. The Dodgers, with their most stirring come-from-behind win of the year. And so, for Alana Rizzo, Oral Hershiser, Charlie Steiner saying good night and goodbye. What a day, what a night at Coors Field. The Dodgers with a 9-8 win. Now we're going to send it back to Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by Nissan. We'll try to top this again tomorrow night.